Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Yomi no Tsugai, Chapter 2, the new manga by the legend herself, Hiromu Arakawa. When we last left our heroes, we were introduced to Yuru, who lives in this kind of idyllic, medieval Japan kind of style village, where everything is sort of hunky-dory. His sister is some kind of priestess who's stuck up in like a prison cell or something, but beyond that, life is fine. There's a friendly merchant who visits regularly, and then everything goes to shit. Some ward is broken, and all of a sudden, these modern soldiers in helicopters are arriving to kill everyone in the village or something. We're introduced to Tsugai, which are kind of stand-like powers, it kind of seems like. Specifically through one girl who has, like, this mouth for a Tsugai that she's just, massacring the villagers with. Yuru, in the midst of the attack, goes to check up on Asa, his sister, finds her dead, and also finds a different, kind of edgier Asa standing over her, having just murdered her, who claims to be the real Asa. The kind of matriarch of the village is there, and kind of holds the real Asa off, allowing the merchant from earlier to rescue Yuru, and they go to make a quick escape through the village, but they're found by some more of those soldiers, and the merchant Dara has Yuru put this totem thing in a hole in the ground that summons a pair of Tsugai of his own, these kind of lightning dog things that turn into people. And yeah, it was wild, it was exciting, it was really, really good, and I can't wait to see just how this world expands. Let's dive right on into Chapter 2. We have the magazine cover of Yuru and his two Tsugai, you on the left and you on the right, they called each other. And our chapter title is Left and Right, seemingly referring to the two of them. That's also, the second chapter out of two that's like two characters' names together. Not to start prescribing things really early on, but that might be a theme, the kind of like of X and Y title style. Like last time we had Yuru and Asa, now we have Left and Right. Anyway, in a quickening world, step forth an assault on an idyllic village. Chapter 2, Left and Right. And we open back with Asa and the granny, as the granny's blood or shadow creature or whatever still has his arm wrapped around Asa, as Asa holds on to Granny Yamaha, and the shadow starts to like tighten its grip around Asa's other arm, almost like it's threatening to break it. And Asa just tosses Yamaha away, and the shadow creature goes to guard her, freeing Asa. Anyway, Asa turns to leave. Granny Yamaha, we will never forgive you people. We will exact retribution. So I did point out last time that I was kind of suspicious about the goodness of the village. That maybe, Asa and her murder gang are, like, somehow the good guys here, and the village did something horrible. Like given the whole fake Asa deception was kind of suspicious. So they're definitely not quite on the up and up here, but I'm not quite sure if there even is a good guy in this conflict here. Anyway, Asa leaves, and Yamaha just kind of glares at her. And as Asa's leaving, she knows Danji, Yuru's friend, and his mom. And given what Asa said last chapter about going to kill everyone beside Yuru, not a great sign. And Danji goes protect his mom, but Asa just notes them and turns to leave. Doesn't even think they're worth her time. And Danji looks up at the hole Asa made in the building earlier. And then we have this flashback. What looks like a young Yuru and his father. Father, what is this? A path connecting the main district to Sayusama. I never knew. When the village was still a fortress, the Lord built this secret path. Very few people in the village know of this. Keep this a secret. Use it when in need. Sayusama's stands are just above. This leads to the village. So we are seeing, last time, Yuru mentioned that, he had known about this secret passage. And I guess we're getting a quick flashback as to when Yuru learned that. Though I don't think we've ever seen Yuru's like, I didn't really see either of Yuru's parents last chapter, though we did. I'm going to go back to the very beginning of the first chapter. We have that bit of the man crying over the babies, and of course, their parents giving birth to them. And looking at it now, that man might be... Like, I had assumed it was their father, but I thought the father we saw in chapter 2 just now looked different than this guy. But they might be the same guy. Yeah, they are the same guy, actually. Okay. He just looks weird, looks different when he's not crying. Anyway, there's still a lot of suspicious shit going on in this village. This leads to the village. Listen, Yuru. Sayu-sama will always look over you. And we come back to where the last chapter left off. As I believe this is you on the left is the man, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to go back to the first chapter real fast to make sure I have that right. 1 second. Yeah, you on the right is the man. My bad. So you on the right turns to Yuru. We've been watching you all this time, Yuru, my master. And the left responds, from now on, we'll be your Tsugai. And Yuru, who I don't even think really knows what a Tsugai is at this point, just like stares up at them. Are you Sayu-sama? And right just sort of like rubs his head. Is a teary and fearful kid our master? And left stops them. Stop it, you on the right. Master doesn't know what to do. And then Dara sort of like salutes them. Hello, Sayu-sama. Nice to meet you. So I guess these guys are Sayu. Okay. The god sort of made manifest. And then right turns to him. It's the tiny Tsugai, Dara. Okay, is Dara a Tsugai? Okay. That's an interest. Whose Tsugai is he then? Because I was under the assumption that Tsugais like had a specific person they were bonded with. But if Dara just is a Tsugai, he doesn't seem to have a person. Though it's only like the second chapter, so I could be way off base here. Anyway, Left tells him, it's not our first time meeting. We've been watching you for a long time. We kind of just shot down the things trying to harm you. What were those birds anyway? And Dara tells them, those are vehicles of the lower lands. It's a long story. We don't have the time. There are at least two... And you're at all this just like really confused at how Dara is just sort of... You know, clearly knows much more than Yuru ever suspected. There are at least two dangerous people here. Get us down the mountain safely right now. And Yuru interrupts him. Oh no, that's right. Who responds? Dara, you are not our master. Our master is Yuru. And Left also kind of agrees. We will obey him. And Yuru's just getting increasingly confused at all this. And Dara tries to tell them, I know, but there's no time to explain matters to him. Can't you get us off the mountain quickly? And then Gab appears with her fucking mouth Tsugai. Whoa, they look strong. And yep, she's just there to you know, cause more murder. Whose Tsugai are they? The old guys? And Dara just panics. No, she's come. I threw a grenade at her and she's still so lively. And Yuri was just panicking because, like, I guess the mouth thing is even weirder than the other Tsugai he's seen at this point. What's that monster? And Gab tells them, my partner's pretty sturdy, and don't call it a monster. And Gab then sort of points at Yuru. Ahem, a 16-year-old boy. You're Yuru? Yuru protests, I'm 17. And Dara corrects him, that's the year count. You're 16 in the lower lands. What's that? It is what it is. Is that so? There's sort of, like, there's this weird sort of comedy routine going on here. There's like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of if it's really, it's kind of cutting into the tension almost. Which is weird, because that's one of the things that, like, I remember Arakawa being so good at in FMA, was expertly blending the comedy and action tension. But here it's sort of, you know, it's not, you know, it's sort of crammed into the corner, which is, like, really all that kind of gag needs to be. But it still does go on a little while of just sort of Dara expositing to Yuru the whole difference in year counts. But anyway, Gab then sort of turns to Yuru. I see. You're Asa's brother. Do accompany me. So yeah, we see, you know, there still is trying to find what I'm thinking about here. I am kind of curious, what exactly is the dynamic between Gab and Asa? Like, maybe she's just sort of threatening him, because she rightly predicts he's going to try and resist her. But there's something sort of, maybe like the way that her like forehead is like blackened there, kind of forebodingly. Like, maybe she's not a big fan of Asa, or maybe I'm just completely overreaching here. Anyway, Yuru reacts, Asa, and he flashes back to Asa. I will kill everyone besides you. And then Yuru turns to Gab, the person who killed everyone in the village. It was you? And Gab just responds, yup. And we see Yuru's is clenching his fist, so much the veins are starting to pop up. And Right turns to him, Yuru, my master. Command and we will follow your every word. But Yuru stops them. I won't command you. Sayu-sama are patron gods. It would be presumptuous of me to command them. So that's actually an interesting point. If, given some of Yamaha's reactions at the start of the raid last chapter, I kind of had the impression that, this whole village was set up for Yuru. And it would make sense if, they would set up, if this is how Tsugai work, they would set up Yuru's personal Tsugai as the village's patron gods. But also it's kind of a double-edged sword here. As, Yuru is so reverent to them, he can't even see them as their master or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, Yuru goes on, I won't command you, but I have 2 requests. 1, take the villagers who are still alive somewhere safe and protect them. And the other, and he pulls out his arrow, that shorty is my prey. Don't interfere. Okay, that might not be the best move there, Yuru. Given that she has superpowers and you're saying my superpower should not interfere here. And Gab sort of stares down at him contemptuously. Else, do as you wish, Sayu-sama. But we do see that, we've seen Yuru as this hyper-competent archer, and he does look ready to go right there. And Right just laughs. Gah! Great! The master gives us free reign. Great news, you on the left. And Left just sort of nods her head, and Right just dashes. As you command. And Gab opens up her Tsugai mouth. And right when it seems like Right is going to barrel through it, he jumps over it, shocking Gab. And Right declares, I'm going to protect the villagers. Take care. She's pretty ferocious. And then I think maybe Yuri shot an arrow and the teeth just bit into it, destroying it instantly. No. Left is fighting the Tsugai. Which is not technically fighting Gab, therefore not defying Yuru's orders. And Left just looks down at the teeth. It's master's command. I will do as I wish. That's a badass scene there. Also, it's kind of reminiscent of the iconic Alphonse and the Greek chimeras. My master told me not to go with strangers. Aren't you little old? Just listen to your boss. Oh yeah, I decided not to go with strangers. It kind of gives me echoes of that iconic FMA scene. But anyway, Gab is just shocked at Left destroying, or just smashing her teeth into the ground. And then, while she's sort of unguarded, Yuri shoots an arrow through her leg. And she plummets. Ow! And she looks up and sees Yuru aiming again. The second shot's coming. But the teeth then grab Gab and run. As Left watches, that Tsugai really is sturdy. And Yuru runs, catch them! And Darius is sort of shocked at I guess, Yuru sort of taking command here. Hey! What are you doing? Let's go down the mountain quickly! Oh, right, because Daryl wants him to escape, like Yamaha told him to. But that's not really what Yuru's here for. Then he pulls out the token. Ah, damn it. Which I guess, for a moment when we saw him take out the token, I was scared the Tsugai were going to vanish with that gone. But apparently not, because we come back to in the village with Right checking up on the survivors. And I think that's the girl that Gab spared last month. Hey, still alive? Hey. And then she wakes up. Oh, still alive. And he touches the blood on her cheek. This is someone else's blood. Glad you're unharmed. And the girl's just so confused. Oh, right, because he's invisible to most people. Because someone's like pulling on her cheek and she can't see him. Oh, I see. You can't see me. Don't worry, I'm not a monster. And he materializes in front of her. I'm not quite sure how that works, but again, we know very little about this world at this point. And he tells her, I'll take you somewhere safe. But the girl's so shocked at both his kind of hulking appearance and his sudden appearance that she passes out. Oh, what's with all these people? They all faint after they see me. And he looks around. The adults are killed, but not the children. So yeah, we're seeing there is a kind of moral code, at least to Gab, if not their entire organization. You know, the adults are guilty of whatever Asa's accusing them of, but the children very much aren't. Also, just shout out to just how kind of grisly this series is. You know, much more than I remember FMA being. We see like the top half of someone's severed head just lying on the ground there. And then Asa runs by. And Wright, I think, thinks she's another villager, not quite recognizing her as the threat. Oh, you can see me? And Asa just extends her hand, and with some kind of beam attack, I guess? It's kind of invisible, but some force pushes towards Wright. And Wright's kind of shocked. What are you doing all of a sudden? And I don't know if this is meant to be sort of an artistic license thing, but he looks much more bestial on that last panel of 24 there. And yeah, it looks like his hair is kind of grown out. He has it looks like a lion's mane there as he roars back at Asa, and Asa sort of pushes back against, tries to defend against Wright's attack. And Wright tells her, you're using a dangerous thing, girl. If you want to fight, I'm totally in. But master... And Asa just runs away, not really here for this. Hey! Young people these days have no ears. And then he sort of looks around, and sort of like looks off at her. I guess if he's not a threat, he hasn't really been ordered to kill her, or fight her or anything. And maybe he just doesn't really want to. In the same way Left clearly wanted to fight the Mouth Tsugai, maybe Wright just doesn't want to fight that much. He's much more willing to, like, be the savior than be the fighter, I guess? I don't know. So he's gonna go focus on his mission. But we see Left we see that Gab and her Tsugai have, like, holed up in some building. With the Tsugai acting as, like, an extra set of doors, and Left is trying to pry them open. Gab is just terrified. You've got to be kidding! This is 2 against 1! And she's like, trying to like slam down on her teeth, and Left just keeps on going. That's a kind of frightening face from Left there. She's in and she just like finally yanks the teeth open. Yuru fires his arrow, goes right past Left, hits Gab in the shoulder. Ah! Ow! The second shot! But then Asa arrives, using that same attack she tried on Wright again, heading towards the building like right above Left. Some of the building falls onto Left. And it collapses on top of Gab, I think. The effect there is that Yuru can't shoot her. Ah, shit. And Asa then runs over to Gab. Gab-chan! Okay, so there's an interesting bit. I earlier was like maybe, there's some kind of bad blood between Asa and Gab. But Asa here refers to her with a chan, implying some kind of affection, which is interesting. And Gab notes her, Asa, thank goodness. And just then Yuru calls, don't move. And he's on top of the rubble, readying another arrow. Who are you? Answer me. And Asa defending Gab. I am really liking, even if Asa and Gab are the villains, I like the way they clearly care about each other. I think the best villain groups are ones where you get the sense they kind of like each other. And we're seeing that here with Asa and Gab, if they are in the end the bad guys. I'm your sister, Asa, big brother. And Yuru snaps, you lie! Asa's not as tall as you. And Asa tells him people in the lower lands have better nutrition. Which is an interesting note. Like, she looks different than the whatever that Asa that lived in the village did. because she has all the like comforts of the modern world. She can eat better than some 16th century farmers or something. Anyway, Yuru snaps. Asa doesn't look as mean as you. And Asa just tells him a lot happened. I ran away from home. So there's definitely some more. There's definitely just a lot going on right there. I ran away from home. Like, what happened? I'm so curious what exactly happened to make Asa leave. She wasn't kidnapped by some organization or anything. She ran away, she says there. I don't know. There's just so much mystery in this early setup. I'm so into it. Anyway, then Wright arrives. Hey, don't fight with family. This girl's blood smells exactly like Yuru. Okay, so that kind of explains why Wright didn't attack Asa earlier. Not because, he didn't want to, like, wreck some shit, but because he wasn't going to fight his master's sibling. Anyways, this girl's blood smells exactly like Yuru. Your siblings? Huh? So that sort of also then confirms to Yuru that Asa is telling the truth here. Then who's the Asa who carries out her duties in the main district? And Asa just tells him straight up, an imposter. I ran away from the village 10 years ago. Granny was afraid you would run away too. And then we see the ball that Dara got as a souvenir for the fake Asa. That when Yuru encountered the real Asa last chapter, fell out of his shirt and rolled over to the blood that created the Shadow Man, that I had thought might have been Yamaha's Tsugai, but maybe, given that that whoever the ball rolled to hasn't moved, that must be the imposter Asa, and we see the blood kind of retracting back to her. So maybe that was the imposter Asa's Tsugai? The imposter Asa's Tsugai? Maybe? I don't know. And also the ball starts rolling again, which is interesting. Anyway, Granny was afraid you would run away too, and made an Asa who would shackle you. And the fake Asa rises from the dead, her blood coming back into her. You are an affectionate brother. As long as Asa is in the village, you wouldn't leave. That is a counterfeit younger sister Asa. And yet we see Asa, or the fake Asa, rise from the dead, basically confirming she's something else. And Yuru is just panicked there. Gab sort of watches all this, as does Wright. And Left watches Yuru's like hand as it kind of shakes, holding the bow and arrow. But then I also love this next panel of Yuru's, like, his worldview is so shaken. Even though Left should be right there, he feels like he's standing alone. It's a really nice panel there. But Dara gets in the middle. Sorry to interrupt the fateful reunion of siblings, but will you not call it a day, Asa? And Yuru turns to him, Dara-san, you're what they're after. But we still don't know the powers of this Asa. If you stay here, they might cause more damage to the village. Though I'm not quite sure why Dara would get Asa to call it a day, if again, Yuru is what they want. Some villagers are still alive. And Yuru puts sort of weakens the slack on his arrow and calls, hey, don't hurt any more villagers, and I will let you go. Leave. And Asa allows that. Which is interesting. Maybe she realized that, like, with the two Tsugai, she had that, like, quick fight with Wright earlier, and she was, like, clearly outmatched. So maybe she's realizing that, like, as long as Left and Right are here, they're kind of fucked right now. And so she calls, very well, let's go. And Gab reacts, Asa? And Yuru and Dara turn to leave. Left and Right watch Gab and Asa for a moment as they go, as Yuru just calls, bye. And then they leave. And then Gab just snaps at Asa. Why didn't you catch him? And Asa turns to her. I can't abandon you, Gab-chan. You're wounded. At least I know that my brother is well. So yeah, again, it's starting to feel more and more like that this was some kind of rescue mission on Asa's side. I mean, maybe killing all the adults was like a bridge too far or something. But maybe they were in the right to, like, maybe the villagers were, like, truly awful people or something. I don't know. Anyway, the teeth bite like most of the arrow in Gab's shoulder as she calls, ouch! And then complains, goodness, your brother's merciless. Yeah. And I do love, though, we see the teeth gulping down the arrow, but because it has no stomach, the arrow just falls to the ground. That's some good little like, sight gag comedy. Anyway, Gab goes on, he's got skills. Yeah. He's alive. And also just closes her eye, I should say. Yeah. He's alive. I also haven't called much attention to Asa's eye patch. But what happened to her to make her lose her eye, I'm wondering. I don't know. And she cries. A most un-villain-like response. My brother's alive! And she, genuinely weeps out of that one eye. I'm so intrigued by her. What is going on? What is going on with her? What is her motivation? I don't know. And Gab sort of watches her friend weeping and, pats her on the head. And then we see the same sort of rings that went out when Gab and Asa started their attack. Maybe it's that ward the villager mentioned being, restored or something? Yeah, the ward's back. Let's leave quickly. Not quite sure what that does to them. On rereading the first chapter, I kind of came to the conclusion the ward was why Yuru only ever saw, the smoke trails from or the whatever you call those, cloud lines that planes make. Why he only ever saw that and not the plane itself. I don't know. The ward's back. Let's leave quickly. And we see, it does seem to be Yamaha who controls the ward. But then we see the fake Asa holding that ball, healed, but clearly unhappy with everything that's just happened. I'm sure Yuru's going to have a lot of questions for Yamaha. But anyway, we have some random travelers or something. The helicopters were so loud just now. What was that? Perhaps someone was stranded? A lot of people get lost on this mountain. Many are never found. And then his friend responds, isn't that just the mountain ghost story? To which his friend responds, it was the first mountaineer responds, Mayoiga. Mayoiga, in Japanese folklore, refers to a well-kept but abandoned house found in remote parts of the mountains. Yes, that. You're just walking in the mountains and suddenly you stumble into another world. A village where there shouldn't be one. And when you return, there's nothing there. Which, is kind of indicative of this whole setup. And we the camera pans out to show this pile of rocks. And I imagine that Mayoiga is meant to be indicative of what the ward does. That while the ward is up, the village is gone from mortal eyes or something? I don't know. That's just my best guess. But then we also see Yuru and Dara running down the mountains, noting these hikers, and you see the clear clash in their clothing. The bikers are in very 21st century outfits, and Yuru and Dara aren't, but they're still retreating down the mountain actually. Which okay, I don't know why, but I kind of assumed that that Yuru would be pressing for answers from Yamaha in the aftermath of what his sister just did. But apparently not. Dara just calls them, hello. Oh, hello. And Yuru, who's never seen that kind of fashion choice before, sort of stares off at them. And the woman hiker just asked, are they porters? And her companion, or perhaps Matagi, who are traditional Japanese hunters, they have nice old-fashioned clothing. And then this sudden gust of wind blows both their hats off, as left and right, who they can't see, dash to the trees above them. What a wind! Let's get down quickly. And then Dara looks off into the distance. Oh, the village is out of sight. It's inside the ward again. So yeah, like I was saying, with the ward, no one outside the village can see the village. And Yuru asks him, can we not return to the village? You can if you wish to. But people who know the village's location and can break the ward have appeared. Their aim is you, so it's meaningless to hide in the village. Though again, should he be hiding, or is Asa actually someone he should be going with? I don't know. But Yuru did not see Asa break down and cry upon learning her brother still lived. So he doesn't have quite all the information as to how sympathetic she is. Anyway, it's better not to return. It's better to melt into the crowds of the lower lands. And we see a car on like a mountain trail, and we see a guy sitting there, and Yuru and Dara land out of the woods right in front of it. And Dara calls, "Sorry for the wait, Hana-chan." And Hana, who we did see him talking to last month, responds, "Wait, what's this, senpai? I heard it'd be humans. You didn't say you'd bring Tsugai." Oh, okay, so she can see left and right. And Yuru has just like never seen a fucking car before and is so fucking confused, I think. And Right responds, "Oh, and left, she can see us." And Dara sort of apologizes, "Sorry. Onwards to a new journey with new companions." Okay. So again, there's just so much interesting shit here. This is so good. It's so nice to have Arakawa back doing, the same kind of original monthly action manga that made her so famous. I have missed this. And to be fair, she could have been doing this the whole time with Arslan, but I've not really read Arslan, so I can't really say for sure. But God, this is so good. This is the kind of this is. I'm not gonna do anything incredibly bold, like say this is the next Full Metal Alchemist, but it's just good to see someone who is such an expert in the craft of writing manga back to writing doing some original storytelling again. It's good. She had Silver Spoon, of course, but Silver Spoon was A, racked by hiatuses, and B, not really in this genre. This whole, intrigue and mystery. I love Silver Spoon. I reviewed Silver Spoon at the end, but it was not tense. There was very little tension, especially in late Silver Spoon. And this is full of it. Full of tension, full of mystery, full of intrigue, full of, who's on what side, what actually is going on here. There's so much good shit to think about here. And I am fully in love with this series already, and we're 2 chapters in. It's just so fucking cool, for one thing. It's just great. It's just so good. I love... I'm trying to talk about the first part of the chapter, and most of the stuff I really dug in this chapter was in the back half. I do Yuru deeply cares about his village, and if his destiny is to, or his fate is kind of to end up on the same side with Gab and Asa, if they're in the right in whatever conflict is brewing here, which again we can barely even see the vague outline of at this point, then definitely the fact that Gab massacred his village is going to be a point of contention, even if the villagers were very bad people or something. I don't know. I just don't know how all that's going to play out, but it's going to be real good, I think. And then again, I love the Gab and Asa scenes. It's so clear how much they deeply care about each other. From Asa calling her Gab-chan, to sort of that last bit after Yuru leaves of why didn't you catch him if he's their goal? And also being just, I can't abandon you. You're my friend, and I'm sticking with you. And at least he's alive. He's alive, and she just weeps, and it's so sweet. It's just, and Gab's little head pat is all so sweet. I don't know if they're on what exactly their ultimate goal is, but I do wish them the best for now. And then Yuru was quickly realizing the world is not what he thought it was, of course. As he does make it to at least the mountainside connected to the modern world, as he sees the hikers who are in modern attire, and a full-on car, which what the fuck is a car? He sure fucking doesn't know. I don't know. There's so much good shit going on here. I want to talk for a moment about the 2 little glimpses we have from Imposter Asa. And I think that's the last thing I'm going to have to say about the chapter here. Beyond Wright kind of being a blast. I think Wright's kind of really fun. But when she first resurrects, the way she's drawn, the way her entire front is silhouetted, and she has the white blank eyes, looks kind of like she's some sort of threat. But then if we cut to her and Yamaha at the end, she just looks kind of sad. So I'm really curious what exactly is going to end up happening with her. Is she, I figured she was going to be dead, and we weren't going to have these, dual Asas running around. And she was just going to be, a symbol of the shady shit the village is up to. But no, she's definitely alive again with Yamaha. So we've kind of maybe got 3 factions running around right now, right? We have Asa and Gab and whatever shit they're working with. We have Yamaha and Imposter Asa. And we also have Yuru and Dara. And Dara, I know, is attached to Yamaha. But the fact that Yamaha has this fake sister of his, I think is going to put some tension between those 2 factions. Maybe enough to make Yuru be a sort of standalone faction whenever conflict is brewing here. I don't know. This is also the 2nd chapter, and I could be talking entirely out of my ass. Next month might prove me completely wrong here. I don't know. All I know is I'm fucking hooked, and I cannot wait for next month. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. Do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!